Hello and welcome to today's episode on part 2 of Understanding the Customer and Competition, Business Markets and Business Buyer Behavior. My name is Rayyan Zahoor and the subject expert is Dr. Arshia Hussain, PhD in Human Resource Management and teaching in the Department of Commerce and Business Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Introduction. In the first part, we discussed business markets and its characteristics. We also discussed the major types of buying situations and the participants in the business buying process. In this session, we will discuss major influences on business buyers and the business buying process. Major influences on business buyers. Business buyers are influenced by many factors when they are in the process of making a decision to buy. Some marketers believe that the significant influencers are economic. They are of the opinion that buyers will seek out these suppliers that sell at the lowest price, have the best product or provide the maximum service. They focus on the strong economic benefits and continue their marketing efforts. However, business buyers are also human and social and not just cold, calculating and impersonal beings. They respond to economic factors as well as personal factors. They are affected by both reason and emotion, and both these factors play a significant role in the buying decisions of a business. Business buyers are mostly subject to very similar offers from suppliers, and there is little scope of a strictly rational choice. Since any of the suppliers could help them meet organizational goals, buyers can let personal factors play a bigger role while making a buying decision. However, if competing products have significant differences between them, business buyers are expected to consider economic factors while making their decisions. According to Frederick Webster and Yoram Wind in their book Organizational Buying Behavior, the factors that influence business buyers can be categorized in 4 groups: environmental factors, organizational factors, interpersonal factors, and individual factors. Environmental factors. The current and the expected economic environment around an organization has a crucial impact on business buyers. The primary demand for the products they require, the outlook of the economic conditions within their country and outside, and the cost of money heavily influence business buyers. With a rise in economic uncertainties, business buyers tend to limit new investments and try to reduce their existing inventories. A shortage in key materials is an increasingly important environmental factor. A large number of companies want to buy and hold big inventories of material that are in short supply in order to ensure that there is no disruption. Other environmental factors like political, technological and competitive developments influence the business buyers as well. Culture and customs can also have a strong influence on the business buyer's reaction to strategies and behavior of the marketer, even more in the global marketing environment. The business marketer needs to keep a close eye on these factors and monitor them on a regular basis. He must understand how these factors will affect the buyer and make an effort to convert these challenges into opportunities. Organizational factors. All buying organizations have their own policies, procedures, objectives, structure and systems. The business marketer needs to be aware of these organizational factors as minutely as possible. The marketers should know how many people are involved in the process of buying and who they are. They should know the evaluation criteria. They should know the policies of the buyer's organization and the limits on the buyers. Business buyers are shifting towards centralized purchasing. Centralized purchasing provides organizations with a larger purchasing leverage, enabling them to buy at considerably lower costs. This gives the business marketer an added advantage of engaging with fewer and higher level buyers. They often use a national account sales force instead of selling to separate plants of a large buyer using a regional sales team. Business buyers prefer long-term contracts with their suppliers. Business marketers try to make it as easy as possible for the buyers to place an order. Technology is being used extensively towards this objective. Business buyers across the world have adopted several successful manufacturing techniques like JIT or just-in-time production, TQM or total quality management, vendor management, inventory systems and flexible manufacturing. Such techniques have a significant impact on the way business marketers sell their products and services to their customers. For example, when a seller uses JIT, the materials used for production will reach the customer's factory just when it is required for production. The customers do not need to store it at their premises till they need to start using it. This requires synchronized production schedules of both the supplier and the customer. As JIT requires frequent delivery, several business marketers create their production facilities closer to their important JIT customers. Customers often sign long-term contracts with one or a few of their reliable and trusted customers. Interpersonal factors. The buying center generally includes several participants and they influence each other. It often becomes difficult for the business marketer to understand the different types of interpersonal factors and group dynamics that flow through the buying center into the buying process. According to Thomas Bonama, managers do not wear tags that say decision maker or unimportant person. The powerful are often invisible, at least to vendor representatives. The buying center participants who have the highest rank do not always have the highest influence. Participants in the buying center could have influence over buying decisions due to several factors, which are: they exercise control over rewards and punishment. They are generally liked and appreciated by other participants. They have a special skill set. They have a good relationship with one or more important participants. Interpersonal factors are subtle in nature and often difficult to notice or identify. Business marketers should pay attention to these factors and make an attempt to understand them. They should design strategies keeping them in consideration. Individual factors. All participants in the business center are influenced by their own perceptions, beliefs, preferences and motives, and they bring these in during the decision making process. These factors are influenced by the individual's personal characteristics like age, education, income, personality, professional identification, attitude towards taking risks, etc. Buyers have separate buying styles too. Some buyers are technical in their approach and go through a detailed analysis of all proposals before they decide on which supplier to choose. While some buyers are more intuitive in their negotiations and are skilled at making the sellers compete with each other to get the best deal. The business buying process. There are 8 stages of the business buying process: problem recognition, general need description, product specification, supplier search, proposal solicitation, supplier selection, order routine specification, performance review. Business buyers who are in a new task buying situation generally need to go through all these stages, while buyers who are in a straight rebuy or a modified rebuy situation might not need to go through all these stages. Let us take a closer look at all stages of the buying process. Problem recognition. The buying process begins when an individual in an organization identifies a problem or a need that can be fixed by buying a certain product or a service. The identification of a problem could be an outcome of internal or external stimuli. Some examples of internal stimuli are when organization is launching a new product which needs new materials or production equipment. And equipment could have been damaged and needs new parts. There could be a situation where the purchasing manager is not satisfied with the product quality or the prices or services of the existing supplier. Examples of an external stimuli are when a buyer gets some new ideas while visiting a trade show or while watching an ad. The buyer could be offered a better product or a better price by a salesperson. While advertising, business marketers sometimes point towards potential problems that a customer could face and then show how that problem could be resolved by using their products. General need description. Once a need has been identified, the buyer gets ready to outline the general need description, which describe the product, its characteristics, and the required quantity of the product. For regular products, this process is fairly simple. However, for complex products, the buyer often needs to work with other individuals to help define the product. These could be users, engineers, or consultants. The team working together would want to rank the importance of several attributes of the product, like durability, reliability, price, etc., that are desired in the product. An alert business marketer in this phase can assist the buyer in defining their needs and give them information about the importance of different characteristics in that product. Product specification. The next step for the buying organization is to develop the product's technical specifications. This is generally done with the help of a value analysis engineering team. Value analysis is an approach used for reduction of costs. In this approach, various components of the product are analyzed in detail to understand if any of them can be redesigned or standardized, or its production cost reduced by following a different method of production. This team determines the best product characteristics and communicates this to the organization. Marketers can also use value analysis as an effective tool for securing a new account. By showing buyers an improved method of manufacturing a product, marketers can convert a straight rebuy situation into a new task situation. This will give them a chance to attain a new business. Supplier search. The next step for the buyer is to begin a supplier search so that they can find the best vendors for the material or services they require. The buyer can create a list of qualified suppliers by referring to trade directories, by an online search, or by calling other companies or individuals for recommendations. The amount of time the buyer is going to spend on looking for suppliers depends on how new the buying task is and how complex and expensive the product is. The supplier should get listed on all major directories, including online directories, and have a good website using search engine optimization to get noticed quicker. The suppliers should build a good reputation for themselves. The sales team should proactively look out for companies that are searching for suppliers and ensure that their organization is noticed and taken into consideration. Some companies go to extremes in their search for the correct supplier. Proposal solicitation. At this stage of the buying process, the buyer has already identified appropriate suppliers and requests them to send in their proposals. When the product is simple or regular, most suppliers would email links for the range of products or send a salesperson. However, when the product is expensive or complex, the buyer would expect a detailed proposal or sometimes formal presentations from every supplier they have identified. Business marketers need to be proficient in preparing proposals and giving presentations. It portrays a better image for their organization when they respond in a professional manner to the proposal requests of buyers. Proposals should be created in a way that a marketing document is created and not like just a technical document. The presentation of the marketer should inspire confidence. It should make their organization stand out among other suppliers. Supplier selection. The next step for the buying center is to review the proposals that have been sent by the suppliers and select one or more depending on their requirements. During this process, the buying center generally creates a list of the characteristics that they would want in their supplier and the importance of each of them. Some of the most important characteristics that buyers identify are the quality of the products or services, on-time delivery, corporate behavior that is ethical, honest communication, and competitive prices. There are other important characteristics as well and include the supplier's capabilities of providing repair and servicing as well as technical aid and guidance. Their performance history, their reputation, and their geographic location are important attributes too. The participants of the buying center rank their suppliers based on the characteristics they have defined and determine the best suppliers. Order routine specification. The next step for the buyer is to create an order routine specification. This includes the final order with the supplier or suppliers that the buyer has chosen. It has a list of items like the technical specifications of the product, the expected time of delivery, the quantity of products required, policies for return of product, warranty, etc. In cases where maintenance and repair is required, buyers sometimes use blanket contracts instead of periodic purchase orders. A blanket contract establishes a long-term relationship with the supplier, where the supplier assures the buyer a reliable supply of the product when it is required at agreed prices and for a specific period of time. A blanket contract removes the process of renegotiation for the same product every time it is required. It also lets the buyer hold a smaller inventory and reduces the carrying costs as the buyer can make smaller and more frequent purchase orders based on their needs. A blanket contract generally leads to buying more products from a single source. This method makes it difficult for other suppliers to sell their products to that buyer unless there is dissatisfaction with the prices, quality of product or the service. Performance review. In the next stage, the buyer reviews the performance of the seller. The buyer could connect with the users and take their feedback and understand the level of their satisfaction. Based on the performance review, the buyer could continue with the same contract or modify the contract or terminate the contract. The seller needs to keep a close watch on the factors that are important for the buyers and the ones they are going to use to assess their performance. This way, the seller will be able to keep the buyer satisfied. This model of the business buying process, consisting of 8 stages, is a rather simple view of the entire decision process. The actual process is generally a lot more complex. Every organization has their own method of buying, and every buying situation has its own unique requirements. Most of these stages do take place, however, the order in which they take place could be different. Sometimes participants in the buying process could add other steps, and sometimes they could repeat one or more stages during the buying decision process. Institutional and governmental markets. Most of the buying processes we have discussed so far apply to institutional and government organizations as well. However, these two are considered non-business markets and have certain additional characteristics and requirements. Institutional markets. These consist of schools, nursing homes, hospitals, prisons, and so on. Institutions are different from each other in terms of their funding and their objectives. A lot of institutions work on low budgets and the end customer is dependent on them. For example, the patients in a hospital do not have much choice about the food and need to eat what is provided to them. The quality of food is decided by the purchasing agent, and the objective of the buying process is not profit. Severe reduction of costs is not the goal either. The purchasing agent needs to find a supplier who needs a certain minimum quality standard or exceeds it and has low prices. Several marketers set up a different division to cater to the special needs of the institutional buyers. Some manufacturers produce, package and price certain products differently in order to serve the requirements of institutional markets better. Government markets. This market is seen as a big opportunity by many organizations. In a lot of countries, government organizations are major buyers of both goods and services. Business buyers and government buyers are similar in a lot of ways. However, there are some important differences that sellers need to understand. Government organizations generally invite bids from suppliers and select the lowest bidder who meets all their conditions. Sometimes better quality of products and a good reputation for completing contracts on time can give suppliers an edge. Government organizations are generally partial to domestic suppliers. There is a unique feature about government buying. It is closely watched by people outside the organization, which could be the members of the parliament, opposition parties, and certain groups that are interested in government spending of the taxpayers' money. Organizations that sell to the government tend to lack orientation towards marketing for several reasons, which are: spending is determined by elected officials and marketing efforts do not make any difference. Price is the primary emphasis, and that drives suppliers to invest in technologies that bring the cost down instead of spending on marketing. Product differentiation is not a factor that can influence buying behavior. Advertising or personal selling will not help in winning bids. Summary. Business buyers are influenced by many factors when they are in the process of making a decision to buy. Some marketers believe that the significant influences are economic. They focus on strong economic benefits and continue their marketing efforts. However, business buyers are also human and social and not just cold, calculating and impersonal beings. They respond to economic factors as well as personal factors. They are affected by both reason and emotion, and both these factors play a significant role in the buying decision of a business. The factors that influence business buyers can be categorized in 4 groups: environmental factor, organizational factors, interpersonal factors, and individual factors. There are 8 stages of the business buying process: problem recognition, general need description, product specification, supplier search, proposal solicitation, supplier selection, order routine specification, performance review. Business buyers who are in a new task buying situation generally need to go through all these stages, while buyers who are in a straight rebuy or a modified rebuy situation might not need to go through all these stages. This is all we have for today. Hope the session was informative. We will meet again in the next episode with a new topic. Till then, take care and goodbye.